So last night, to take a break from all the YouTube drama, I threw on the TV and decided I'd watch something a little less dangerous, like, the Olympics. I kind of like the Winter Olympics because, they have sports like snowboarding and skiing and ski jumping and, crazy sports where people are flying 20, 30, 40 feet in the air. I think it's pretty incredible. And I don't watch sports very much at all. I've watched the X Games a little, but it's not something I make a point of watching. The Olympics is just about right. It's like every 4 years, give me some winter sports, and I'm good for the next 4 years. So the sport that was on was biathlon. And if you don't know, biathlon is a sport where you ski and then at some point you stop skiing and you target shoot. So you're skiing with a rifle on your back. And it's pretty easy to see where this sport comes from. I mean, if you're in a Nordic country and there's a lot of snow on the ground most of the time, this is probably a lot like what hunting is like. So the origin of it is not hard to see. But what I don't understand about this sport is why anybody does it. So here's the thing, right? They're skiing, but they're not like downhill skiing, and they're not really cross country skiing. They're doing this sort of skating thing. I mean, there are sections that are downhill, but there are also sections of the track that are uphill. And they're like pushing up on these, like, like they're skating across the snow, like you do, when you're at a ski area and you're down at the bottom and you're going to a lift. Except they're doing this a lot. And then they got to stop and shoot. And then they got to get back up and they got to do it some more. And I don't know all of the rules to this sport, but at one point I heard the announcers talking about penalty loops. So evidently, if you miss your shots, you have to ski more. And all of the guys doing this, it was men's biathlon I happened to be watching. So all of the guys doing this looked miserable. Like they're just having no fun whatsoever. And I'm not saying that, when you're in the middle of an Olympic sport, you got to look like you're at a party. But these guys looked, I mean, the way these guys looked, you would have thought that the sport they were participating in was, competitive house moving. They looked like guys who'd been carrying furniture all day. And my girlfriend and I are watching it, and at one point we just kind of look at each other, and I say, "That doesn't look fun at all." And she's like, "I've been thinking that for the past 20 minutes." So, cheers to people who do biathlon. I'm sure that there is a reason that you love it, but from a spectator's point of view, I cannot imagine what that what that reason would be. It just eludes me. Um, anyway, that's all I wanted to say. I don't know what's on tonight, but I'm sure it'll be entertaining. It always is. Biathlon is probably about the most boring thing I've watched so far. And it was still pretty interesting, but if only for how miserable the guys looked. But I do enjoy the snowboarding, the skiing, the skating. That stuff is all fun. And in particular, I really enjoy the the downhill events where they're cracking 70 miles an hour, and the big ski jumps where they're going way the hell up in the air. I was on a motorcycle trip a few years ago, and I spent the night in Lake Placid. And before I left, I decided to go over and take a quick little scope out of the place where they had held the Olympics when it was there. And I saw those ski jumps, and they're even steeper than they look on TV. When I was a little kid, when I was 8 or 9, you probably could have got me to do something like that. But I can't imagine anything now. I can't imagine an amount of money that you would have to pay me to even try that. So I'll raise my coffee cup to those guys, and cheers. You're more intrepid than I am. I might as well tell my other Olympic story while I'm talking about this. I lived in Athens, Georgia in 1996 when the Summer Olympics were in Atlanta. And one of the big exciting things that was going to happen is that the Olympic torch was coming very close to Athens. It passed right through Watkinsville, which is just up the road from Athens. It's the next town over. And there's a major highway that runs through Watkinsville called it's Highway 441, which, if you know the Tom Petty song American Girl, he's got a line in there. It's like looking out over old 441. It's the same. He's talking about that road. So anyway, me and my wife at the time decided we would go down to Watkinsville and watch. And we got there, and there was a crowd, which we expected. We kind of, we knew the place where the torch was going to get passed, so we decided that we would go and we'd post up there and just wait for it to happen. And like I said, there was a crowd, which we totally expected, but we managed to find a good place where we could, hang out and had a decent view of the intersection where it was going to happen. And we're hanging out, and somebody yells, and we look down the street, and you can see the guy coming, and the other guy's getting into position to take the torch from him. And as the one guy comes up the road towards the other guy, a whole crowd of photographers completely surrounded them, and we saw nothing. All we saw was the backs of photographers. And nobody saw anything because they had completely encircled around the torch passing 360 degrees. That really put a sour taste in my mouth about the whole thing. Tried not to dwell on it too much because that's just the nature of the media. And over the years, my feelings about the media have only declined from there. We ended up going to the gold medal women's soccer match because it was actually held in Athens. It was held at the UGA Stadium, and that was fantastic. I'm not a soccer fan, but that was one of the most exciting things I've ever seen. It was the U.S. and China for the gold, and that was one of the best sporting events I've ever seen in terms of excitement. So, mixed bag there. The game was fun. The torch passing was disillusioning. So anyway, that's my Olympics spiel for the day. Have a good one. I'll see you in the next one. Try to stay out of YouTube drama. It just looks miserable. Catch you later. Bye.